Before I start this video, I want to stress that this book contains some very dark themes. It contains domestic violence, sexual themes, hippies. There's a lot of weird stuff in this book. So if you're not interested in hearing about stuff like that, then I suggest you probably skip this one. But this is the ultimate superhuman. The book starts off in World War II with, we've got the Allies. They're going in to fight this war. They're going in to fight World War II. They're flying into Germany, and it's all hell breaks loose, essentially, and they find that the Germans essentially have this big D-Day weapon that they're going to fire at the White House, and Captain America, being Captain America, gets onto the weapon, manages to make it explode in mid-air, but also gets stuck, gets frozen in ice for several years, 55 years. Then we're brought to present day in New York City, and it's just after the Hulks had a big, massive rampage through New York, and Bruce Banner and Nick Fury are talking, and they're in talks about the president giving Bruce Banner a large degree of money to continue this super soldier serum project, which of course Bruce Banner really wants to do, and he's working with these two scientists, one being Hank and Janet Pym, who are married, obviously, and Hank is wearing this mask that looks very similar to the Ant-Man mask, and he's getting these ants to make him coffee and stuff, and they're talking about this super team, and Hank's been developing this serum that can help him grow to a certain size and shrink to a certain and there's no shrinking yet, but there's just growing. We then have Iron Man, who shows up, and he's invited to the team. Nick Fury kind of brings him in, saying, "Are you going to help us or not?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, fine." We then have we then have Hank Pym testing his powers, and he manages to grow to 55 inches, and they find Captain America in this block of ice. Captain America, once awoken, he doesn't know where he is, he doesn't know where he's from, so he literally just jumps out and starts fighting everyone. And once he's knocked unconscious, he sobers up, and he goes, and he's normal. And Nick Fury and Steve go and visit Bucky Barnes, who is now married to to Steve's girlfriend back in World War II. And Bucky's apparently the only person that's alive, and Cap's like visiting the graves of his entire family, and he's just like, why did you dig me up? I've got nothing left to live for. Everything's changed. And then like Nick Fury's like, not everything, and then points up at a flag, at the American flag. Then the team is at this party, this gala, and President Bush is there, and he's like, what do you think of modern day America? Is it cool or is it not cool? And he's like, yeah, it's pretty cool. And then we have Tony Stark, who's doing an interview with Larry David, but he's also in space at this point, and Larry is essentially saying, well, if you're supposed to be on this super team, why are you not with your team? And he's like, yeah, there's no... He's like, yeah, but there's been nothing to fight. There's nothing for the team to actually do. Stephen and Janet are like shopping, and whilst there's supposed to be this training exercise, and the only person that's shown up is Hank. Meanwhile, Bruce Banner and Nick Fury have gone to Norway to recruit Thor, who is essentially this like homeless hippie that has like become essentially like a Jesus type messiah to these people. And Bruce Banner is essentially like, what are you feeding these people? Why no one knows that you're... why do these people believe that you're this god-like character? And then he's like, well, have you spoken to Betty recently? Have you told the Pims that you fantasize about killing them for stealing your old job? And then he's literally like, do you want me to show you what Mjolnir can do? And then thunder starts shaking. And Nick Fury's like, I thought you were here to save the world. And Thor basically responds with, yes, from people like you. And then we go a few weeks forward, and the entire team, or what team there is sat around this table, basically just talking about a movie that is going to be made of them, even though they've done nothing. And they're like, who's going to play who? And I hear there's talks of Brad Pitt playing Captain America, and there's we'll get Matthew McConaughey to play Hank Pym, and we'll get Lucy Liu to play the Wasp, and we'll get Samuel Jackson to play Nick Fury, because of course. And then they're talking about who would play Bruce Banner, and like, oh, why don't we get Stuart Little or Woody Allen? And then like Bruce Banner turns up and just runs off, and Bruce Banner is in the street and he's phoning Betty, and he's like, I've done something really stupid, I've done something incredibly dumb. And then he starts convulsing on the floor. And just to add a little bit of context, Betty and Bruce are on a break at this point, and they're both like, Betty kind of hates Bruce for obvious reasons, because the last time because A, he's a rampaging monster, and B, he's like a bit of an asshole. But everyone's an asshole in this book. So essentially, Bruce Banner is like unconscious in the back of this ambulance, and then his eyes open and they go green, and he's just like, Betty, and then he starts like rampaging through this to the back of this ambulance, and he completely breaks it open, and then like the whole team suits up. Like we have this awesome page where we see the team, and they're like, one of our members has gone AWOL. What are we gonna do about it? And Cap's like, we hit him till he drops. And then they all go to fight the Hulk, essentially. And there's nothing really notable about this apart from the Hulk literally trashes everyone. Apart from Captain America. Captain America gets a few decent licks in, but the Hulk destroys everyone. But this is a decent point to see like everyone's powers and what they can do, and yeah, it is very decent to see. But the big change with the Hulk, and the reason why I don't like the Hulk in this book, is because instead of like having him be this rage monster, and he's powered by rage, here he's powered by sex. And he's like Hulk horny for Betty, and he's like, Hulk gonna rip Freddie Prinze Jr. in half because Hulk horny. It's so weird. We just got this massive like hulking beast who's just like really like just powered by sex. Halfway through the fight, Thor shows up, and Thor just continues to beat on the Hulk, and then the Hulk's just like, oh, you just made Hulk horny for Betty again. So, I don't like this Hulk. Can we not just have Hulk smash, or a little bit smarter? Why does he have to be horny? Why do we have to have like a sex-driven rage monster? And it's really like quite off-putting to read, actually. And the whole fight is quite entertaining, apart from having to read about how horny Hulk is. Like, but they essentially managed to beat him by Wasp like going inside of Hulk's ear and like zapping his brain. But Hulk ends up getting, or Bruce ends up getting put in this like essentially jail cell that he built to be Hulk proof, and like all of the Ultimates are like doing the rounds on the news and stuff. Janet Pym goes on Oprah. Thor is on the Howard Stern podcast for some reason. Captain America's being interviewed. Tony Stark's being interviewed. And the Ultimates decide, and the team, what should be the team, Hank and Janet are like getting ready. Well, Janet's getting ready, and Hank's like hanging back. He doesn't really want to go anywhere. And then Tony, Thor, and Cap are having this meal, and everyone else is supposed to be like joining them later. But as they're having this meal, they're talking about what's going to go forward with the team. And whilst this is happening, Hank and Janet are talking, and Hank's literally just like, why do you want me to be an idiot? What's going on? Why did you make me look small in front of everyone? You're an embarrassment. What do you think? Like, Steve's gonna think of you when he finds out what you really are? And it's like we find out that Wasp in this universe is a mutant, and it was actually her DNA that was put into the Giant Man serum, and they're bickering, and it seems like, you know, just usual bickering up until the point where Hank just hits her around the face, and yeah, that's pretty bad. Until she elbows him in the face, and it's basically it's implied that this isn't the first time that that's happened as well. Whilst this is all happening, we're basically getting some insight into Thor, Cap, and Tony, and why exactly they're on the team and what their motivations are. And Thor's basically like, well, I'm not going to be a permanent member of the team. I don't want to be a team. It's not about the money, it's not about the glitz, it's not about the glamour. But if you ever need me for anything that's an actual problem, I will be there. But whilst this is happening, Hank and Janet are continuing to fight continuously, and they're not stopping until Janet's like curled up into in the corner, and Hank just calls a load of ants, and they all crawl over her, and we go continuously back and forth between what's happening there and what's happening at Tony's, and what they're having a conversation about. And the contrast is that we have these three characters forming some kind of bromance. We have these other two that are literally trying to kill each other. And I will say that this, at the end, is beautifully done. However, it is a little far, and it is very, like, dark and unsettling to read. But Tony Stark is essentially like, I have a brain tumor, and we find out that Tony Stark has a brain tumor. He has a tumor in his brain, and then they make a toast to fallen friends, or to absent friends. Meanwhile, Hank's like sitting on the floor, like, what the fuck have I done? Yeah, it's this book is a very weird one to talk about and review, because there's so much stuff that I don't like in it, but there's so much stuff that it does that I hate, but I like the book so much. It's genuinely well written, but they do have too many like pop culture references. There's too much stuff that really dates the book. Like, they literally put the president at the time in the book, and that is annoying to me. I don't like that aspect of it. But I also feel like it works, and it does give you a sense of the time period that this book comes from. I don't feel like it dates the book as much as it would be for, like, Captain. It dates the book, but it's harmless, isn't it? It's not like putting an actual real life terror attack into a book. It's it's not like that bad. It's just a tad annoying. I don't really like when they put like actual real people into books, unless if it's like tributing them in some way. Like when they had Muhammad Ali fight Superman, like that was fun. Like, but in this where they just have the president show up, they just have President Bush show up. It's like, yeah, okay, but they're trying to formulate this as if it's another universe. But is this our universe? Because they literally have a scene where they're sitting down and they're talking about like what's going on, and the big point of the book, the big like running theme of the book is that the team is put together but they have nothing to do. That's why Bruce Banner decided to become the Hulk, and he decided to give them something to fight because they had nothing to fight. That's the big like point of the book, and that's real. That is very real. Like if there was a super team created in real life, they would literally be like, what the fuck do we do? There is nothing to do. Yeah, you can send them to like Afghanistan, or you can send them to Iraq. You can send them to fight in a actual real life conflict. But what the writer Mark Millar did here is he tackled the problem of what do superheroes do in a real life setting very well, because it is very realistic. It's not like Ultimate Spider-Man where it's a completely different, completely disillusioned world. Like, this book is very dark, very gritty, and very real, and it tackles with stuff that is very real. Again, I really don't like the characterization of the Hulk. I feel like that's very uncomfortable to read, and I don't like reading about a horny Hulk. I don't know. But everything else in this book I can't really complain about. I feel like the pacing is great. I feel like the actual storytelling is bar none. I really do dig this book, and I really think it's a book that everyone should check out. Ultimate Superhuman for me gets a 8 out of 10. So yeah, that's really all from me today. I will see you guys in the next video, which will be out ASAP, and it is actually the continuation of this book, Ultimate's Homeland Security. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. Check out social medias which are in the description below, and yeah, peace.